Okay, number 12. Okay, speeding up is when velocity and acceleration have the same sign. Slowing down is when velocity and acceleration have different signs. So you have to do two sign charts, one for velocity, one for acceleration. So set it equal to 0, factor, and make sure when you factor you keep the negative in your sign chart. So in this one, don't divide by -3, even though you could, because if you divide by negative, you're going to make all of the signs the opposite and you'll misinterpret everything. It'll be the exact opposite. So instead, factor out the -3t, and you're left with t minus 10. Set each factor equal to 0, you get t equals 0 and 10. But be sure to keep this negative when you're doing your sign chart. So we're going to do a sign chart using this, okay? So 0 and 10. Left of 0 doesn't exist in the world, so we don't need to worry about that. If we plug in a number between 0 and 10, like a 1, then if we plugged in a 1, this would be negative, and this would be negative, and so that's a positive. Plugging in an 11, we'd get a negative. All right, now let's do the same thing with acceleration. Set it equal to 0. Then make sure if you factor, you can factor, but leave that -6 in front. So we get t squared minus 5. Okay, yes, you could divide by -6, but not when you go to do your sign chart. When you go to do your sign chart, you have to use this negative, okay? So setting the -6 equal to 0, that goes away. We just have t squared minus 5 equals 0. So t squared is equal to the square root of 5. So t is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, so number 12. Speeding up is when velocity and acceleration have the same sign. Slowing down is when they have opposite signs. So you need to do a sign chart for both velocity and acceleration. Now, when you do a sign chart with a negative out front, make sure you don't divide by that negative because you'll lose it and it'll make all your signs the exact opposite of what you were hoping. All right, so here's my velocity and my acceleration. Set them equal to 0 and factor. And when I'm going to factor, I'm going to make sure I leave that negative. Don't divide by it. So factor out a -3t, and I'm left with t minus 10. Set each factor equal to 0. We get 0 and 10. But that -3 right there, that's important. That's going to affect your sign chart. That's why I said don't divide by it, okay? So when I do my velocity sign chart, well, that was supposed to be a 0 and a 10. I wrote 10 twice. Okay, in my velocity sign chart, I have 0 and 10. To the left of 0 doesn't exist in the world, okay? No negative time. Plugging in a 1, we plug it in here, we get a negative. Plug it in here, we get a negative, so that's a positive. Now plug in an 11, we get a negative times a positive, which is negative. Okay, now we're going to have to line this sign chart up with the acceleration sign chart in a minute. So now we do the same thing with acceleration. Set it equal to 0, and you'll get that t is 5. And do a sign chart using this. Okay. To the left of 5, if I plug in a 1, then we get a positive acceleration. To the right of 5, if I plug in a 6, we get a negative. And now you need to visualize this sign chart right on top of the other one. So I'm going to kind of merge them. I'm going to put my acceleration right here and get this 5 right there. Okay, and we went positive, negative. All right, now compare your signs. Anywhere you have same sign, that's speeding up, okay? So speeding up, or increasing speed, okay? Let's see. Between 0 and 5, we have plus, plus, so that's speeding up. After 5, this is now plus minus, so that's slowing down. So from 5 to 10. And then from 10 on, it's minus, minus, so that's speeding up again. Okay? And that's it. I guess I should include the 0. All right, so there you go. Hope that helped. Bye.